This video is about how to start MAF training the right way. If you found yourself injured, burned out, sick and tired of running, not happy with where you're at, if you've slowed down, if you've gone through any of those emotions, just know it doesn't have to be like that. And with the Maffetone Method way of training, aka heart rate training, there's hope for all of us. And you can gain your love of running again, and you'll be able to even run faster maybe than you thought you would be able to. Hi, my name's David Waters. I'm the Plant Powered Runner. Thanks for joining me on my journey of MAF training, heart rate training, aka slow running, aka zone 2, whatever the heck you want to call it. All I gotta say is this stuff works. First off, I just want to say happy Father's Day to everybody. It is a lovely day. Hopefully you've got your run in and you're sitting back with your family, just enjoying their company and eating cake. God, I love cake. See, this method is very, very simple. It's very easy to do. So let's get the basics out of the way first. First thing you're going to want to do is take 180 minus your age. And that is your heart rate that you're going to use for all of your runs for a particular time. Now, if you've been training for 2 years and you haven't had any injuries, you can add 5 beats onto that. Now, if you have been injured and whatnot, you may have to reduce 5 beats. Now, the other thing that you need to understand is if you're on medication, you're going to have to reduce the amount of beats by 10. And the reason for that is the liver, right? It takes everything on. And the reason that Dr. Phil Maffetone talks about that is your liver, your kidneys, your body, it has this medicine that's putting a stress on the body, even though you may not even notice it, but it's there. Look, I'm no doctor. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a recreational runner who loves helping people. And this is something that I've learned from Dr. Phil and his website, and I've listened to his podcasts and his interviews. Anyways, so just know that this is where that information comes from. Going out for your runs is very simple. You go out, you leave the house, and you go run. And however long you run for is going to be strictly up to you. If you're going to start off and do half an hour, then cool. If you're going to do 45 minutes, that's fine. If you want to do an hour to 2 hours, awesome. Go out and do it. Now, the big factor that you're really going to have to look at is the following. To be successful, you're going to need to have a heart rate monitor or a strap, okay? Now, heart rate monitor can come on a watch, but just know with the optical sensor on the watch, there may be a delay of up to 8 seconds. So you're going to be running, and when you look down at your watch, you're going to be looking at where you were 8 seconds ago. So if you're about to run up a hill, you're going to need to make sure that you kind of back it off a little bit and make sure that you don't go over. Now, if you do go over your MAF number that we talked about before, it's okay. Don't freak out. You're going to learn. It's a process. I still go over my number from time to time. It just happens. We're human beings. You don't need to be militant about it, okay? Otherwise, you're not going to continue to do it because then you got to think too much. I don't know if you knew, but there is a cool feature on some of these GPS watches now. And with my Coros watch, I can set it up where I will have my watch alert me once my heart rate goes above a certain threshold. So you may want to set that up. That will be helpful. With regards to how far you're going to run during the week, well, again, it's going to come down to where you're at. If you're a new runner, you may want to take it nice and easy, okay? I run based on time. I don't worry about the distance, but I know some people, they use distance because they know that, look, that's going to take me that long to run, and I like using distance, and that's cool. You can go ahead and do that. I like to use time and heart rate when I go out for my runs. Now, one of the cool things about that is you can measure how much further you're running based on your time. And if your heart rate is in your MAF zone, over the months that go by, you should be able to go further and further and further and further and further in with regards to distance. One of the determining factors on how successful you're going to be using the Maffetone method is consistency. All right? Consistency is the cornerstone, because if you're not getting out there and doing your runs, you're not going to see a whole lot of improvement over time. A sweet spot for everyone is going to be different. When I started, I was only running 4 hours a week, and then I had to bump it up to 6 hours a week. And then I found when I got to about 8 hours a week to about 12 hours a week, I really started to see some awesome changes. Now, the reason I probably saw that is because I started to run further in that time period, and I was consistent. So again, that's something that you may want to work towards. Temperature plays a big role, guys. You need to make sure, and I stress this over and over and over again, is when it gets hot outside, you're going to be running slower. And that is okay, because your fitness level is just under the surface. When it's humid and hot, slow it down. Because when fall comes and it gets cooler, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be running much faster at the same heart rate. Trust me on this. It works. I've done this. Actually, did I just say trust me? You don't even know me. Well, okay, maybe you do, kind of like, you know, through a camera. But no, I'm just, on a serious note, I know it works, guys. I've done this method. I've used this method to build up my endurance to run a 50 miler. I don't think I would have been able to do that if I trained any other way. So I know it works. I've knocked off 3 minutes off of my pace per kilometer, and yeah, it works. Just because you can run more using this method, it doesn't mean that you should. You have to understand, the further you go, you are putting a strain and a stress on your body, even though it may not feel like it. Maybe you feel like a walk in the park, and that's cool. I got no problem with going for a walk in the park. But when you do it too much and you're not giving your body any rest days, it is a stress. It is a recipe for overtraining. So really, really dial that in and know that it's okay to take time off, right? You're not going to lose your fitness in a day or a week, right? I can't neglect to tell you, but you're going to have to change your diet. You can't continue to eat fast food, junk food, boxed food, processed food, and see results. It's just not going to happen, guys. I mean, maybe if you're in your 20s, it may work, but as we get older, it isn't happening. Cutting all of those processed carbs out of your diet is hugely important if you want to see results. Look, here's the thing, right? If you put crappy fuel in your car, what kind of performance do you think you're going to get out of it, right? It's not going to be that good. You're not going to go that far. It's the same thing with our body. Let's give our body the healthy vegetables and the healthy micronutrients that our body needs. So that way we can go out and do the sport that we love to do, get faster at it, see the improvements we want to see, stay fit, stay fresh, and keep the injuries at bay. Technology is going to fail you. It's just inevitable, right? So right now, I'm without a watch. My watch died on me. And you know what? It happens, right? Am I mad about it? No, it just happens. With regards to doing a MAF test, you can do it on a track at one of the local schools, or you can do it on one of your runs that you always do. Just make sure you do it once a month, okay? Now, I like to do it at a track because it's flat, right? Like, it's level. I'm not dealing with any hills. I'm not dealing with any of that. And so my numbers, I know, can be accurate to the best that they can. Now, in the summertime, when it gets warmer, you can't really compare your MAF test to where it was in the winter or in the fall. So just know that, okay? You can still go ahead and do it, But just know the weather, the humidity, the wind, hills, they all play a factor. If you're not getting enough sleep, like if you're getting 4 hours sleep or 5 hours sleep, you may not see great performance. Typically, I get around 7 to 8 hours, maybe 9. It works out really well for me. Hopefully you can do the same, but sleep is a big factor for recovery. You're gonna need it. You're gonna have to keep the stress levels low. Do your best. Family stress, financial stress, work stress, commitment stress, any of those types of things will have an effect on your heart rate. It's a great way to start. It's a great way to build up endurance. It's a great way to literally improve your running and keeping the injuries and burnout at bay. This has to be a fun sport, guys. Training this way you can't be stressing out about your heart rate while you're running. You literally, honestly, say this sincerely. The joy of running has to be there. And there are days where you may have to leave the watch at home and just go out and run by perceived effort. Okay, you may be running faster than your MAF number, but you know what? It's okay. It's not a problem. Enjoying the sport is more important than always looking at your watch. So if you're finding that aspect stressful, maybe this method isn't for you. Maybe it's not going to work for you. Does the Maffetone method work for everybody? No, it doesn't. There are some people who have a naturally high heart rate. There are some people who really are running way too fast for their MAF number. And then as the older you get, especially when you get into your 60s, you may have to add an additional 5 beats or 10 beats or something. And I say something because Dr. Phil didn't have a lot of people to test with when it came into he didn't have very many 60-year-olds to do the test with. And so that's why we don't really know those numbers. So MAF is a tool to figure out where your fitness level is, and you can adjust it. Now, the adjustment that you do, whether you add 5 beats, 10 beats, 2 beats, whatever it is, once you're in your 60s, well, he says 65, but I find that when people get into their 60s, yeah, you may want to adjust that. You're gonna have to play around with it. Now, here's a couple of bonus things that you need to understand. If you have been training this way and you have been seeing great results, I am so super happy for you. Now, let's say you took some time off, or let's say you've been doing this for a year and your birthday has come. Well, guess what? You don't have to reduce your heart rate by 1 beat. If you're improving, and if you keep improving, then there's no need to. But if you're away from the sport, let's say you did MAF 5 years ago, well, you're not going to use the same MAF number that you did 5 years ago, right? You're going to use what it is today when you restart. And then that's your kind of baseline again. So go out, do your MAF run, and see if you're improving month to month. If you're improving month to month, great. If not, you need to make some changes to it, right? Maybe you're running too fast. You need to reduce the amount of beats. This is a tool that allows you to shift it as you may need it. For all the females out there, this is a big note that you need to pay attention to, and that is your iron level. If your iron level is low, your heart rate will be elevated. Again, I'm no doctor. I've just had this conversation with a number of females who have gotten their iron levels tested, and sure enough, it was low. They added more iron into their diet, and then things changed for them. So again, I'm just kind of putting it out there. So maybe go in, talk to your doctor, find out what your levels are, and then work from there. Before you start your run, you need to do a 15-minute warm-up. Now, I'm going to tell you, most people forget about this. They don't want to bother, they don't have the time. But I'm telling you, if you don't do that 15-minute warm-up, you may find that you have an erratic heart rate at the beginning. It may shoot all the way up too high, go too low, be jaggedy everywhere. It's hard. So your body needs to build up, start to work, get the blood going, get the muscles going, figure out what you're about to do. Once it settles, then you should be good. If you thought this video was interesting, give it a like, subscribe, or you may want to check out this video here on how I ran my 50 miler. With that, guys, like I always say, get out and run. See you on Thursday.